So today we're going to be breaking down just how much income you need to be earning to be able to qualify to purchase a $299,000 condo in one of DC's fastest growing neighborhoods, Anacostia. And honestly, I don't think people fully realize the scale of development that's flowing into this area right now. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're going to break down just how much income you need to be able to qualify to purchase this condo at $299,000. And then I'll briefly touch on the two major developments coming soon to the Anacostia neighborhood and what impact, if any, these developments could potentially have on real estate values right here in Anacostia. Let's get after it. So if you were curious enough to click on this video, I'm assuming that's most likely because you're interested in DC, Maryland, and Virginia real estate. My name is Bashir, and I have the privilege of assisting families and individuals buy or sell real estate in and around the DC metro area. So if you have plans on buying or selling a home pretty soon and you want to work with someone who has an intimate knowledge of DC area neighborhoods and communities, you can feel free to reach out to me. All my contact details are below in the description and pinned in the comments. Look forward to meeting you. So we're in Anacostia. We're only a 12-minute walk from the Anacostia Metro, 12-minute walk from the small local businesses on MLK Jr. Avenue. We're also about a 12-minute walk from Anacostia Park. So we're going to be discussing the hundreds of millions of dollars worth of development that's projected for this neighborhood. But before we do that, let's see if you can actually qualify to purchase this $299,000 condo. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo, 717 square feet. There's free parking in the back. So let's go check it out. Okay, so this building has 3 floors, and the one we're going to be checking out is on the 2nd floor. Okay, so this is our entryway. Right at the entry, we have front loading washer and dryer. Nice, pretty good size. Okay. So kitchen, you've got the vinyl plank floors. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of, plank floors, but because I just don't like the colors that they come in. But this color is nice and bright, so I guess that's not too bad. Pantry is right here. There's quite a bit of countertop space. Got GE appliances throughout, electric stove. So no gas bills. Got the soft close cabinetry. So good amount of countertop space right here, and also a good amount of cabinet space. All right. So we've got additional cabinetry right here. You've got more countertop space over here. Now, I do notice that due to the sheer size of the countertop space, this island right here, I mean, it's not a traditional island, but it could serve that purpose. And this is your living area. We got these bay windows that bring in a ton of natural light. And you could actually see the Capitol from right here. Let me zoom this in and see if you could. There we go. Right there. Okay. So I guess this would be, you'd have to put the TV right there. That'd be your entertainment area. And the couches will go right here. So there's no official space for a dining table. So I guess this part of the countertops are going to be your designated, sort of like an eat-in kitchen. All right, let's head to the back. So we've got 2 bedrooms in this space. This is the first one. Comes with its own full bathroom. So we've got our closet back here. Okay. Now I noticed this bedroom doesn't have a window, but we've got some egress. So we've got this outdoor deck, and this is the parking lot. So there's about 20 parking spaces. And behind this door is just the mechanicals, water heater, HVAC system. Now we've got our second bathroom. This one does not have a tub. It comes with a stand-in shower. And then this second bedroom that actually has a window, right? Pretty good size bedroom. You know, you have a queen size. This looks like a full. Is this a queen? I can't tell these days. This looks like a full size bed to me. And then you've got, I mean, either way, if you had a queen, I think you could still fit these 2 nightstands. And then we've got a closet, which is pretty much the same size as the other bedroom. Okay, so let's talk about how much income you would have to be earning to be able to afford this condo priced at $299. And then we'll talk about those 2 major developments that are coming in and around this neighborhood that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. So stay tuned. Now, these condos are being offered by the District of Columbia. So there are quite a few incentives to make these condos as affordable as possible for buyers. So let's go through the mortgage breakdown. At a purchase price of $299,000, we're gonna assume that someone who's buying this condo is gonna put 3% down, which is roughly gonna be around $8,900. Now, under normal circumstances, you also have to budget around 3% of the purchase price for your closing cost. However, one of the incentives being offered with this condo is that the seller is actually paying the buyer's closing costs. So that saves you around $8,900 in closing costs. So the only thing you would have to be coming to the table with to purchase this unit is that, let's call it rounded up to $9,000, which is the 3% down payment. Now, the average mortgage rate as of June in 2025 is roughly around 6.75%. Now, the second incentive is that the seller of this development is offering a 2-point mortgage rate buy down. So that's gonna knock that mortgage rate all the way from 6.75 down to 4.75. And of course, that's gonna make the monthly payment on this home a lot more affordable. So let's talk about the payment. At the purchase price of $299,000, the principal and interest is gonna be around $1,500. The property taxes are gonna be around $102 per month. Homeowner's insurance is gonna be around $60 a month, and private mortgage insurance is gonna be around $182 per month. And there's an HOA fee of $206 per month, and that's gonna bring the total monthly mortgage to exactly $2,067 per month. Let's assume that you had two of the most common types of debt that most people have: a $300 car note and a $100 per month credit card payment. So your total monthly debt obligation is gonna be the $2,000 for the mortgage and also the $400 for your car note and credit card payments combined. So your total monthly debt obligation, which is the $2,000 mortgage and the $400 credit card and car loan payments, is gonna be about $2,467 per month. Now, if you were to apply for a mortgage based on this hypothetical scenario, how much income would a mortgage lender like you to bring in on a monthly basis to be able to afford a monthly debt obligation of around $2,400? Let's talk about that. Usually mortgage lenders don't want your monthly debt obligations to exceed 40% of your gross monthly income before taxes. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take that total monthly debt obligation of the mortgage and your other debts, which in this case is around $2,400, and we're gonna divide that by 40%. So the required gross monthly income in this hypothetical scenario would be roughly around $6,167, or that could be roughly around $3,000 being earned between two individuals. So the required annual salary would be around $74,000 or $37,000 between two people. One thing to note with these condos is there is an income restriction on these units. Your gross annual salary cannot exceed $99,000. Now, this unit isn't being offered through any sort of special DC programs like HPAP or the inclusionary zoning program, aka the IZ program. So it doesn't have many of the other restrictions that those programs have. The only restriction on this unit is your income cannot exceed $100,000 per year. The required income changes if you had zero debt. So let's walk through a scenario of how much income you would need to qualify to purchase this unit if you had zero debt payments on a monthly basis. The income needed to qualify would only be $62,000 per year, because now you have an extra $400 that you're not paying in car loans or credit cards that you can allocate towards other monthly expenses. Like I always say, paying off debt really goes a long way. This is how much income is going to be required in 2025, but who knows what that income is going to be in a few years when these two developments that I'm going to talk about are complete and in full effect in and around the neighborhood. So the first development I'm going to be talking about is the 11th Street Bridge Park. So the 11th Street Bridge Park, hands down, is one of the most exciting public projects happening in DC right now. And I mean, it's big news for the Anacostia community. So basically what they're doing is they're transforming the old 11th Street Bridge Park into, like a park in the sky, right? It's gonna be walkable, it's gonna be elevated public space that stretches across the Anacostia River, and it's gonna directly connect Anacostia to Capitol Hill and vice versa. It's gonna have walking trails, playgrounds, performance spaces, public art displays, gardens, and even a cafe. So it's not just the ordinary bridge or a park. And one of the most interesting aspects about this 11th Street Bridge Park development is they're not just building a bridge park. It's also been investing in people who live in and around the neighborhood. So far, there's been about $84 million being invested in initiatives like affordable housing, workforce training programs, and small business grants, and also arts and cultural projects. So one of the goals here is to ensure that longtime residents of Ward 8 and beyond actually benefit from these new developments that are happening in the neighborhood. So a few key things to know about this specific development is this bridge park is going to physically connect Anacostia to Capitol Hill. So it's going to make it a lot easier for residents to walk, bike, and explore both sides of the river. It's fully funded. $92 million has already been secured for construction, and they're expected to break ground on that development pretty soon, by around the year 2027. So the total impact so far between construction and community investment is about $176 million with an M, million dollars. And just so you know, this is going to be a free, open public space. Now let's talk about the second development, which is extremely unique. And this one is quite interesting. It's called Therme. So let me give you a little bit of background on Therme, because you've probably never heard that name before, because it's not really popular even in the United States. So basically, Therme is a global wellness company that started out in Europe, in Austria, right? And they've built some pretty incredible spa resorts across Europe in places like Germany, Romania, and the UK. But they're not your typical spas. These places are huge. They have thermal pools, saunas, water slides, tropical gardens, healthy restaurants. It's sort of a mix between a luxury wellness retreat and a water park. And now they're planning to open their first US location right here in DC. Now you're probably asking, where is all this going to be built? Where are they going to find this space to build this? Well, it's going to be built right here at Poplar Point. In case you don't know where Poplar Point is, it's a 15-acre site along the Anacostia River, right between the Frederick Douglass and 11th Street bridges. So 15 acres, that's a lot of land to build. This project is going to be roughly around 600,000 square feet, which is about the size of 10 baseball fields. And one of the main reasons they picked Poplar Point as the development site for this project is because of its direct waterfront access. And in case you didn't know, Poplar Point is one of the last big pieces of underdeveloped waterfront land, not just in DC, but in the entire East Coast. So this is an extremely rare opportunity, and there's going to be a lot of benefit, not just to the Anacostia neighborhood alone, but to DC. So here's what this development can mean for DC, especially for Anacostia. From a monetary standpoint, the investment is huge. It's about $500 million. That's $500 million. And all this money is being put up by Therme. DC isn't contributing anything towards this development. It's expected to create about 5,000 construction jobs while it's being built, and about 720 permanent jobs after it's built. And once it's up and running, DC is estimating that this project is going to bring in 2 million visitors to the district on an annual basis, which is going to be huge for the economy in DC and also for small local businesses. And they've also mentioned that there's going to be discounted access for DC residents and space for community events and also wellness classes. Now, it's very important to note that while this project is about 99% complete because they've inked the deal, it's not quite a done deal yet. The last piece of the puzzle is the transfer of the land at Poplar Point from the National Park Service to the district. So once that transfer is complete from the National Park Service to the district, construction should take roughly about 2 years. So yes, we're not at the finish line yet, but I mean, if you ask me, all signs are pointing that this project is going to come to fruition. And if it does, it could be a huge win for DC and also the neighborhood of Anacostia. Once it's complete, I'll break the news, possibly even do a tour, and you definitely will be seeing and hearing it on this channel first. So between the 11th Street Bridge Park project and the Therme development, we're looking at about a $675 million investment in just one neighborhood. I mean, I can't remember the last time any neighborhood in DC had over $500 million invested into it. So again, this is really huge for the neighborhood of Anacostia and also the surrounding neighborhoods. Now, how is all of this over $500 million worth of investment going to affect the real estate nearby? It's common knowledge to think that real estate always goes up in value if you just give it enough time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the values are just gonna climb and just keep going up. Does that happen in some cases? Yes. But I've seen instances in certain neighborhoods or certain parts of the country where real estate was selling for $100,000 in 1999, and in 2025 it's still being sold for $100,000. And the reason for that is because there's no demand in those neighborhoods. There's nothing being built around. There's no commercial infrastructure, no investments by businesses, both small local businesses and also national chain businesses. So these neighborhoods just tend to remain stagnant. So if a neighborhood remains stagnant and there's no demand for the real estate in those neighborhoods, the real estate values aren't going to go up by much. No projects, no new construction, no reason for demand to increase. But with these two major developments going on in and around the Anacostia neighborhood, I mean, the landscape around here is changing fast. So I can only conclude from that. Of course, it's hard to say with 100% certainty that the real estate values in and around the neighborhood of Anacostia are going to go up. But if over $500 million with a B, $billion are being invested in a certain neighborhood and around it, I mean, you could only project that that's going to have some sort of upward velocity in the real estate values in the neighborhood. Again, it's hard to say with absolute certainty, but the signs are there. This is how you know where to buy real estate. You have to look at the parts of the city and the neighborhoods where millions of dollars are being invested and a potential for a spike in demand in the future. So this condo was being sold at $299,000, but in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, who knows what the value would be at that point. Only time will tell. I guess we'll leave it up to time and we'll see. In the meantime, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, and you would like to work with someone who has an intimate knowledge of the many different neighborhoods and communities around the DC metro area, feel free to reach out to me. All my contact details are below in the description. They're also pinned in the comment section. I would love to meet you and help you out. And if you wanted a full breakdown of the Anacostia neighborhood, where it's at in its current state, you can watch this video. I'll link it up somewhere right here. That'll give you a full breakdown of the neighborhood, and I'll catch you in the next neighborhood.